So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down some film for my players. We're going to break down some film for my players. I'm mostly focusing on defensive line right now. I'm going to do another run through after I'm done and then focus on the running backs because my running backs were wanting some feedback, so I'm going to make sure I give it to them. So you're not going to see much offensive play and you're not going to see much good play at all in general. It was a rough game. It was a really rough game. But let's hop right into it with some defensive line tips that I can give to some of my kids. So first run through on this play. So I notice JC right here. His club hits a little bit too high up on the arm. I'd rather have that club land elbow or down to make sure that arm gets off of him. Let's check his step coming off the ball. His first step's good. Aggressive, quick. It's good right there. And then he takes this running back on really well. The only thing I would like a little bit better I'd like him to be a little bit lower right here. So their pad height's almost even. He might be a little bit higher. I want JC right here to be a little bit lower and his feet stop once he makes contact. See how he makes contact and he hops a little bit right there? Just get rid of that hop and just barrel through this kid. It's a running back. And I mean, he does a good job getting in there and forcing the contact, but right here my other end goes inside, which he's never supposed to do unless there's a blitz called, so I'm assuming there's a blitz called to bring him down into this gap right here. So assuming there's a blitz called, get off's good. He doesn't rip his other arm through. So he comes off good. He gets a good club. Like, you see that kid's arm bend through, but his arm's stuck back through the whole play. Gotta rip that arm through or swim it over the top for sure. As far as my interior guys right here, this is Rigo. Rigo's a little guy. Rigo can't attack that high. He needs to be attacking at hip level. He's shooting out way too high. My other nose, Calvin, takes on the double team too high as well. Yeah. The only thing that I can really see extra out of this end zone angle is that my end right here, Emmanuel, does not rip this arm through. First thing I noticed running this through is my end, JC right here. Come across good. You realize you're tackled down block, so you know something's up. You engage too high right here. See how you're helmet to helmet. You need to be lower. A little bit more bend in the knees. You can see this knee's almost like straight up. You got to get that down. And what else was I going to say? Oh, you turned your shoulders. Don't want to turn your shoulders because if he did bounce this outside, you'd be screwed because you fully gave into this block. He's got his hands inside on you and he's going to be holding you. So you got to come through, see that something's up, drop low, and get that one arm and one shoulder into that guy to engage the block. And then you got to remain free on this side. The second you turn your shoulders to engage the block, he's going to get his hands inside on you and you're screwed. Now keep in mind as we're running through this, both of my ends do play offensive tackle. They go both ways the entire game. They never leave the field. So after about the second quarter, I'm probably going to be done breaking them down because they're just tired. I mean, I could coach them all day on what they need to do, but it's shit they know. They're just tired. So on this same play, Emmanuel right here, it's kind of hard for me to see what exactly he does. It's the film quality. I just kind of lose him in the mess. Like, I think this is him. I can't really say he played it wrong in any way. It's just too hard for me to tell. And then we usually have our end zone look, but our end zone look is corrupted on this play for some reason. So I can't really get a good read on what he did. So I got Emmanuel right here. What I'm gathering immediately, we're 13 plays in on the game. We're like 4 defensive plays in on the game. Emmanuel's club is coming in good. His rip is really lacking. So as you'll see right here, he comes across. Great contact with the club, but I just don't see a rip to follow up at all. Now, whether he's throwing it and I just can't see it on this camera is a possibility, and would it matter on this play? No. But doesn't mean he shouldn't be doing it. Because it's a quick out route. He's getting chipped by a running back. There's only so much he would be able to actually affect on this play. But by him not throwing this rip in right here, it's muscle memory at that point. That club has to be followed by your rip through every single time, or the club has to be followed by your swim. So him not doing it on this play just tells me his muscle memory isn't there to be doing it consistently. JC right here, I can see him a little bit better from this angle. He just doesn't, there's not time in the play for him to really do anything. I don't like the way he came off and like basically chest bumps this guy. But that guy's whole job is to chest bump right here. So the play's a quick route going out this way. Like, he's really not going to have much effect on the play. My only thing would be to come across and club immediately instead of trying to push and then club, which I think he tried to push and then was going to club, but he realized too late that that's all this tackle wanted. Same thing, this quick route, not much else would have mattered that he could have done. Here's a good angle for Emmanuel here, though. Like, you can see where this club comes in. This kid literally flies. Like, this kid goes flying. Right here. Boom. That's a strong club. Now just rip underneath it. The same amount of energy that he just threw into that club, you gotta rip underneath that aggressively. I'm also going to be focusing on, I'm just going to be focusing on my ends a little bit more as well. So my ends are the one that are asking for the help, so the ones that are going to kind of get it. If my interior wants me to really break down their film, I'll do it for them, but on this play, I will mention that Rigo's a beast. It's a great fill. One more time in full speed. It's what Rigo brings to a team. Good speed, aggressiveness, and a perfect tackle. I don't like that he leaves his feet and lunges right here. I'd rather him just continue to run through this tackle, but I'm really not going to break down an amazing play and tell you what you did wrong. Like, it was a good play. JC up top is a little too passive right here. So we teach you to get the heel depth just right here. Right? So watch, keep in mind where that marker is. That marker is coming across right about here. Heel depth of the line's coming right about there. Right about there is where he wants to sit. Just comes up way too quick. Way too quick. He should be here. His breakdown should be right here. Way too far up. Which is why, if Rigo didn't make this awesome play, he got hooked. And this would have been an easy bounce out. And probably would have gotten shut down by our DB, our safety over here, but thankfully didn't come to it. Now on the other side, pad height, man. Just pad height. Right here, Emmanuel, you could have blown this play up just as easily as Rigo did. But look where this running back makes contact with you. Directly underneath your pads. And you see how he's the one delivering the shot? Like, everything about his movement says delivering the blow. Everything about your movement says, like, taking it or accepting the shot. Like, you're the one that needs to be down, you need to be lower, and you need to be driving through him. Like, even right here, you stop your feet on the contact right there. You guys both make contact, like, at the same time, obviously, but you see how his legs are still, like, he's still gonna drive. So he has one leg up in the air and still had enough of a hit that it knocked you backwards. Which mostly is pad height. It's majority of the problem on this play is just your pad height. You can't make contact with anyone on a field and let them get. You can see his helmet is underneath your pads. So JC and Emmanuel, both of my ends, the thing that you have on any tackle that we're going to play against is speed. Look at this guy's size compared to your size. Now, granted, you guys, think of it like wrestling. He's probably going to wrestle a heavyweight. JC, we both know you can cut weight down to be less than a heavyweight. And if you do wrestle heavyweight, you be on the lighter end of heavyweights. You have speed on guys like this. So when you're coming through, just going for a bull rush is not going to be your best move. Unless you're playing against a smaller athletic tackle. But granted, this guy's a stud, don't get me wrong. I just don't see you winning on a bull rush like this. I would rather you come across right here. When his arms are coming out, you should be clubbing down. The second his arms are coming to punch, before he can make that contact, smack the arm down and swim over the top of rip underneath. And instead of you being stood up right here, let me see, how long do you fight with this guy? So there's your contact with your bull rush. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like 13 frames until he got rid of the ball. So imagine if you just... If basically if you did the right move and sped around on the outside, how much quicker you would have been able to make it to the quarterback. And he takes a huge drop. It's like a screenplay, not saying you could have gotten there. But on plays where this isn't the exact outcome, in situations where this isn't the play that they have drawn up, where it's not going to be a screen, where it's actually just a 5-step drop and he's looking for an 8 or a 9 route, you would have the speed to get back there. Right here, you punch. And if you were to just blown past him right here, right there, you'd probably be a little bit further than heel depth. Right there, you'd probably be right about here, honestly. Maybe here. Still don't think you would have gotten there, but it would have been closer. And then Emmanuel right here, I can see you kind of clubbed, and you half-ass clubbed because you didn't need to club any harder, right? You just kind of hit him and you realized that you had the space. He didn't have you tight enough to really stop you from being able to get to where you needed to be. But what I do notice is this arm is still back there. This arm right here is still back there. Okay? So, even in this situation right here, you know how much you get held as a defensive end. We talk about it at the end of every game. You talk about how they're holding you every single game. You've got to rip this arm through. You have to. Because if you would have ripped that arm through, You're free right here. You come across, you club hard right here, and then rip. You're completely free right here, instead of him still having a hand on you. Same thing. Don't know if it would have mattered. This quarterback's just running a flat-out screen away from you. But it would have been a better chance. If they were running a different play, you would have been able to get there. And with this right here, like, he gave you space and you took it. But if this quarterback was on a different route, like if these receivers were on different routes and this quarterback was looking for something different. Say we had, we got a slant right here. We've got a 9 right here, and then this guy's running like a post or something. This A-back's coming out here, this back's coming out here, right? What you're going to see is right here, this quarterback would step up, and you'd be screwed. But if you had this close contact and you dipped and ripped, you'd be able to make the play. Whether he stayed outside or decided to step up, you'd be able to make the play. On this screen, there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, and here's a little bit of a better angle on it, actually, too. I don't think you actually club at all. I don't think you club at all. You just beat him with speed. You beat him with straight-up speed right there. There might be a club right here, but I can't tell. If there is, you didn't put enough power into it. Your club's right there. Here's where your rip should be 3 seconds later. And right here, you're completely free. It's like a 0.3 second difference. Is a 0.3 second difference a lot? No. But is it on some plays? Yeah. Okay, so once again, JC, you can see you do kind of the same problem again. I think that's JC at least. I can't quite tell. It's either JC or Emmanuel, obviously, because they never leave the field. But whoever this end is right here, I'm pretty sure it's JC. You need to get to heel depth. That's where heel depth is, right there. See it? Okay. And then give it... Look where your breakdown is. You're doing the right thing. You're recognizing he's down blocking and you need to sit, but you need to come to heel depth and sit. Not just realize he left you and stay where you're at. And right here, can't tell who it is. There's no club, no rip, no nothing. Which a little bit of you guys being tired might be coming into play here. But you just engage. You only engage. I'm telling you right now, if this play would have gone successfully on their end, this would have been a touchdown. Because you did not club and rip to get through this gap right here. So say we're coming off the ball. Boom, I'm clubbing. As he's getting his hand on me, I'm clubbing this hand down and not letting him get an arm on me. And the second I break this arm, right, break that arm down, and then rip right underneath it. Instead of you being back there, you're instead sitting right here with him on your left shoulder. Which is going to force this back to probably come up and block you. Which is going to leave our linebacker to be able to make the play on the outside. My backside end right here, I'm pretty sure you also have chase contained too. And you kind of go down the line. And then once again, you can just see you kind of right here, not fighting off this block. And I think at this point in the game, 22 plays in, there's no way you guys are tired 22 plays in. So right here, my end up top. Pretty sure it's JC. You come across and you chest bump. That gets you separation. And then you go. Right? But that chest bump is so unnecessary. Your separation should be through your hand fighting. Here. Club. Look at this lane that they're giving you. He blocked you completely wrong on this play in the first place. He gave you so much room inside, which is where you wanted to go anyways. But because you chest bumped and then tried to kind of throw, that was like 2 seconds that you wasted. Like, I don't know if you were trying to go for a pull, like a push-pull. But a push-pull is like a sumo move. Like, Sumo could do a push-pull. Lorenzo could do a push-pull. You have to use your speed. Speed all day. That's your best weapon. Right here, club. 2 frames later, ripping. Right? Boom, boom. And you're in this gap and pursuing. You and Rigo both could have potentially been right there. Once again, Emmanuel, your biggest issue so far this game I've found, your ability to rip through after your club. Club's great. Club's great when you do it. But your ability to rip through after your club. And pad height. He's lower. Plain and simple. There's no secret rule to success. There's nothing crazy that I'm not telling you guys. Right? Lower guy wins. Period. Right here, you take this block on as the lower man. Well, I think you stopped your feet too. You stopped your feet and braced for contact. Not something you want to do. You want to run through it, right? But you run through it as the person who's lower. Like, look at the way this guy's blocking you, man. Look at how this guy's blocking you right here. He gets lower. He runs through the contact. Ugh, and he takes you to the ground. That's a pancake for him, bud. Two issues with this play on your end. You stopped your feet and you brace for contact. We don't stop and brace for contact. We run through and we punch through shots. And you have to be lower. Have to be lower. Otherwise, that's the outcome. Be lower. Or this will keep happening. But look at the destruction. Okay. So imagine the roles are reversed right here. Look at what him blowing you up as he runs through you and he's lower, right? Look at the contact that he actually delivers. So you make contact right here. Right? We're at the 46-yard line. Okay? Play's officially dead right here. You've gone 3 yards backwards. Okay? Now imagine if you were the one that delivered that shot. You'd be right over here. With the same amount of momentum and force that he just delivered to you, you'd be right here. And as you can tell, it's nothing crazy. Like, this kid's not insane. It's a decent block at best. But because of his pad height, he wins that, and his ability to run through you. So if you take on blocks from running backs the same way that this running back just gave you that block, you could have been back there potentially making that play. Because also, you're bigger and stronger than this kid, so if you do get lower and you run through him, there's a good chance he just goes sailing, and you're back there to pick that ball up. right here. If you're lower and you powered through him and you just flung him off of you, there's a good chance you're back there to be the one that ends up picking that ball up. My opposite end, there's not much I can say. Busted play on their end. You did what you're supposed to do. Hesitated for a second, but that's what you should do. You got through untouched, you know, should be breaking down for a second, and then you see that the play's broken. You fly to the ball. You can see the pad height a little bit clearer. Look where your helmet is, and his helmet. It's quite the difference. Actually, I take that back. So right here, from this angle, you can see he comes up and engages you. Take a back of frame. Look where your helmet is, right? And his helmet. Now, it's not that much of a change. You have to be a small amount lower than you are now to be lower than him. But the outcome that it generates for you just being a little bit lower than you are every time you're taking contact is massive. Massive difference in the outcome and the way you'll play. Like, insane. And I will say that right here, last year you would have taken this a lot higher. You're lower than you usually would be. But as you can see, this leg is damn near straight. There's barely a curve in that one. This one's curved as fuck, right? If both of them are there, you're underneath this guy and winning that fight. Same thing, pad height. His helmet to your helmet. Now, I'll keep going through this film for a little while, but the, like, 3 big problems that I've pointed out, I would say so far, is your pad height on contact, your lack of consistency in your club, because you're not doing it every single time. And let's be honest, it's your best move. Same as JC, you're not a bull rusher. Your club is your best move. And even when you do club, and it's a good club or a shitty club, I don't know if I've really picked out a shitty club yet, but nonetheless, even when you do club, even though it's inconsistent, when you do have those situations where you do club, your rip is not coming with it at all. I don't know if I've seen you rip once on this entire film. JC, on the other hand, man, I could really break it down and, like, really get into it with you. But I'm going to keep it plain and simple. I mean, I think you should be able to watch your play right here and realize what the problem is, right? Do you see any hand fighting at all? What you look like on this play was a decent block if you were a tackle. This guy definitely wasn't going to make the play. That one's tough to watch. So right about play 40, I think I just have to chalk it up to you being exhausted on this point. Emmanuel's starting to look like it. But you're definitely looking done. There's no move, no anything. Here's the sideline angle of the same play. We'll start over here with JC. That way I can just kind of get this one out of the way. No club. Still no club. No club. No rip. Thankfully, this running back isn't a great running back. Because right here, I bounce that outside all day. Because you're just getting manhandled wherever this guy wants to take you. He could have gone up here and gone up. He could have came here and came around. He could have done whatever he wanted. You were going to get destroyed. Thankfully, he ran right into the mess. Manual. Another angle. You can see the pad height. Your helmet. His helmet. It's that simple. A manual, right? A manual on the last play, I mentioned your inconsistency when you club. Here's a good example of what I mean by the inconsistency of it. I like your get off right here. Good little stutter step. Look where your club lands. Way up on the shoulder. Now, I'm not saying that's a terrible place to club. You can club there and be successful. But you know I prefer a club down, elbow, and in. I want you to get this arm off of you. You have to have a lot of power in your right arm to be able to hit this guy on the shoulder and be able to move him enough for you to get a rip through. Okay? Now, speaking of your ability to get a rip through, what's missing? Look where your left arm is. Still. Your left arm is still back here. Club. And I'll give you 2 frames. Your rip should be happening right now. You should be in the middle of your rip. Rip should be all the way done right here. And with that rip all the way done, you're now free and running at the quarterback. But instead, you get stuck and caught up right there. This is a great play to show what I think is your biggest issue right now, which is this rip arm. Do you end up making this play if you do rip? Maybe, maybe not. But not ripping, you definitely don't. You know what I mean? If you rip, I chalk this up to maybe a 50-50. Because either way, Rigo's there. Rigo's probably going to get there before you off of this play. Oh, sorry, that's not Rigo. Our blitzing backer, whoever that is probably going to get there before you on this play. And the quarterback still gets it off before he can get there, right? So I'll say it's a 70% chance you don't make this play, 30% chance you do if you actually rip. If you don't rip, there is a 100% chance you do not make this play. 100. You will never make this play. JC, again, off the top. From this angle, like, it should be hard for me to tell what your issue is because you're away from the camera. Like, I can break this end down all day long. He's easy for me. You should be tough because you're away from the camera. But I can flat out tell you don't do any move. You don't do a club, you don't do a rip, there's no hand fighting. And our linebacker doesn't pick up coverage, but that's not your guys' problem. Let's show you again on this outside. Right? I haven't seen this angle yet. All I've seen is the angle previously. Of you know, the camera being way over on this side and you being all the way over here. I'll bet you $300 right now you don't club. Now, I don't know if you took that bet or not. If you did, I think you owe me $300. See, the thing is, your drive is so good. Like, your motor right here, we're 41 plays in. You're tired. You haven't left the field yet. Your motor is impressive. The way you're driving him, the way your legs are moving, everything is perfect. Your pad height, you're lower than he is right now, right? That's what I've been getting on Emmanuel about. Your pad height is lower right now. Not by quite as much as I just drew it up right there. But nonetheless, your pad height is lower right now. But you got to club and rip. Got to hand fight. Have to hand fight. You are not a bull rusher. I've seen you in the weight room. No offense to you. You do not put up the numbers required to bull rush a tackle. Not many people do. Not a lot of defensive ends in high school football are putting up the numbers required in the weight room to bull rush an offensive tackle. And I know for a fact you're not. Now here we're down this close to the to our goal line, to our camera. I'm not even going to give you guys the other view. We're just going to break down this view right here. We got Emmanuel right here and JC here, I think. Zero hand fighting, Emmanuel. And you even stuck him perfectly. Like you shot this leg out further, which froze him right where he was. Now, if you club and rip or swim to this side, you win. But you chest bump. Then JC, you play this perfectly, but your pad height. His helmet, it's right here. Your helmet, it's right there. Now for this, I'll even show you it from the different angle, because it was a little harder to tell there than I thought it would be. Let's look at your pad height right here. Your helmet, I'll go back to right before the shot happens. Your helmet's up here, his helmet's down here. Pad height. So it's no secret that this is a tough game, right? Like, we were all there. No one had a great time. It's hard for me to keep watching film when it's the same mistakes out of each of you every time. You know what I mean? And it's not hard because, like, it's not coachable. It's just hard because I can only say it so many times until it has to be done. So when we watch this play right here, let me go to this angle. Oh. That angle doesn't exist. Okay, we'll go back to this angle. It's a little bit hard to tell out of you on this one, Emmanuel. But once again, sorry, it's late. Once again, I'm pretty positive I see no hand fighting. So because you're not hand fighting, right? The ball's, let's say right at, it's kind of hard to tell, right at the 15 right here. Okay. Because there is zero hand fighting, so because there is zero hand fighting, he cuts up when you're, I'm pretty sure you're blown back like a yard right here. Granted, is it terrible? No. But is it great? Far from it. Okay? Right here, you come across, make contact. It's fine, that's good. Okay? It's a run. So on runs, I'm okay with that immediate club and rip not being there. As much as I would like for it to be, on a run, it's a little bit more lenient. The contact is still really good. Right here, you have to be clubbing and ripping on that outside shoulder. So you see how I can see your helmet like the entire time during this play? Watch it. That to me says you never beat him to the outside. He had you contained and or hooked the entire time. No, you're hooked. You're hooked this entire time. The only reason he cut it back inside is because of probably Raul over there gets off his block really well. If it wasn't for Raul right there, this is a touchdown. Because you don't fight over the top of your block to keep containment. Then right here. This is going to maybe sound a little dickish. But right, JC, come across good. Okay. And let's say you do see this handoff. Right? You see this handoff go through. You know this guy has the ball. What's your job? What's your job? The run's going away from you. Chase contain. Which means your angle should be deeper than the deepest. So you should at least be on the 21-yard line. Imagine if you were wrong. You know? And, I mean, obviously you saw it. You saw it correctly. You're not an idiot, right? But what if you just missaw something? You thought that handoff went through, but it didn't. Look at this QB. Hands it off right there. Rolls out. Because you're not there on to chase contain. He has all that room. Oh, and I lied. That play was still a touchdown. I think this will probably be the last series I go through. Unless I see something different that I think needs to be addressed, this will probably be the last series I go through. Because the thing is, there probably is minute things that you guys need coaching on. But when the pad level's wrong, when there's no club coming, and when there is a club, there's no rip following it, it's hard to coach you up on anything else you should be doing. So, like, right, that one time that Emmanuel, you threw that club and you threw it too high, in my opinion, I can coach that. I can tell you to bring that down. But when you're just flat out not throwing the club, there's nothing I can say to you. Right? But if you do throw that club in the right spot, I can tell you that you're not bringing the rip. Now, when you throw that club in the right spot and you bring the rip through, I can tell you that your feet work isn't proper. I can tell you that you're not dipping the corner properly. But you're not doing enough of the initial fundamental pieces of defense for me to even really address those. Okay. So JC right here. No one takes the outside but you. And I mean, 33 does, but he's not supposed to. Right? Because if this guy actually ran a wheel, he would have been screwed. He should be in man coverage on him right here. So I'm assuming you still had contain on this play. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and it could be a kill, and I don't realize it. But as of right now, to me, this play looks like you should have outside contain. So basing this off of you needing to have outside contain, come across, you chest bump, and then you pull to the inside. Flat out coming across with the chest bump sucks. It's not good. Your pad height is the same height or higher than him. There's no club. You pull him and go inside. Now, if you come across and you chest bump and you don't club, at least pull him this direction, right? Pull him this way so you can still maintain contain. Especially since they're doing all this crap in the backfield. They're doing all this flea flicker crap. And I have an end that doesn't have containment properly. Like right here, if this guy just didn't pitch the ball, you're screwed. He's got you hooked like a mofo, dude. Now, with all this being said, there's still a percentage of a chance that there was some sort of kill on this play and you maybe were supposed to go inside. Given you were supposed to go inside, you did this well outside of the chest bump. Even the pull was good, and you got to the inside, but I would have rather you done it off of a club and a rip. But I'm like 90% positive that you still had outside contain. Emmanuel. Look at this point of contact. Okay? Here's your point of contact right here. What do you think I'm going to say about this? If you've been paying attention to the film, you should know I will touch the middle of your helmet and the middle of his helmet. Next. I think you threw like a little bit of hand fighting right here to get to the outside, but it's way too late. So if you bring it back right here, he snaps the ball. 1, 2. It's like 2.5 or 3 seconds before you even started hand fighting with him. 3 seconds is about the amount of time you have to get back there and hit the quarterback. Club. Club right here. You see his hands coming for you. Your right hand clubs down. Left hand swims over the top. Easy. Done. So like I said, I think you might have clubbed. Right? I said I think you might have clubbed after you guys got separation. So there's the separation. Here's about where you guys are separating. Here's where I think you might have clubbed. What I can guarantee is that this arm is not ripping. It's fully extended. Fully extended just in his chest. Because instead of you, if you would have ripped through, let's say, right here, you're up against him and you're ripping through. You're getting into the backfield right on this line, right about here. Because you don't rip, you make your pressure into the backfield here. Instead of being there, you're all the way out there. Okay, JC Emmanuel. Lack of hand fighting. First off on this play. Watch yourselves. Tell me if you see a club or a rip. If you said yes, you're wrong. Emmanuel, if you club down right here and rip through, you were sitting at his heel depth and pinching this hole down. And you did one thing you're never supposed... I mean, you did a lot of things you're never supposed to do right here. Play 68, I can officially tell you are mentally not in this game anymore. Pad height first and foremost. Pad height first and foremost. Okay? No hand fighting out of either one of you. I can tell right now that they're almost handing the ball off. The snap has happened. The quarterback has turned his shoulders and he's handing a ball off, and you have still not thrown a club. And then on top of that, Emmanuel, you broke the cardinal sin. Gave up your chest. Look how much you turned. You gave up your chest. And you dip back inside. It's hard film to watch. Very hard film to watch. JC, you do just about the same thing. You give up your chest right here. And you dip back inside. So right here, you dip back inside because it's the only way that you could make this play. And I understand that. Dipping back inside is the only way that either one of you can do anything about this play. But the reason it's the only thing that you can do about this play is because you don't club, you don't rip. Boom. Right here, JC. If this left hand comes up and clubs, and your right hand comes through and rips, you are broken down right here. Emmanuel, same thing. If your right hand clubs and your left hand rips, you would break down right about there. Okay? And you would be there right about now. When there would be time for you to pinch and slide inside and be able to make a play in the backfield. The reason that you feel the need to dip inside right here is because you're not doing what you're initially taught to off the ball. Oh, Manny. Manny. Now, when it actually gets to the block, the film gets grainy. So we'll break it right here. Pad height. Okay? You also let him chip you on this, on your back, your outside shoulder. You let him chip you on your outside shoulder. You have to see that he's coming and have already, be making an effort to get over the top of this block. So it's kind of hard to tell from this angle. But the outcome isn't hard to see. By the time you're off this block, look at where the quarterback's at. Here, you just saw two people pull. You should immediately be thinking something's up, right? You're either looking for someone coming inside or you're looking for a running back coming out to get you. I don't know if you ever saw this running back. You also didn't break down at heel depth. You just flew. Here, you should be able to break down, see this running back coming at you, and be ready for when he comes at you. You should either be running at him and delivering the blow to win and dominate that outside, or running at him and being able to stop and almost do a juke move. Kind of plant with your left and slide over to your right as you're clubbing and ripping or clubbing and swimming back over the top to maintain your outside contain. Because right here, if you would have maintained your contain, this QB has to step up right into him. And you either get the sack or he does. But instead that happens. This right here. That catch. That happens. And I think they called Raul for unnecessary roughness right there, which is just BS. It's a clean hit. JC, look at where your healed up breakdown is. Heal depth is all the way up here. You break down right here. If you're up here, when this block comes, and you also try to like dip inside of the block, man, you have to keep contained. Get up to your heel depth, look inside, drop the shoulder, and deliver a shot. Get low underneath his pads and deliver a shot upwards, and you maintain a strong position right here. He's trying to block you on this shoulder, and that would literally be happening right now as this fake handoff's going on. You'd be able to see he's rolling out, and you would be able to properly be chase containing this quarterback and potentially getting the sack from behind because you're faster than he is. While Emmanuel's pinching him from the front, if he does his job properly, actually he's over here somewhere in this giant cluster F, right? He's pinching him off properly, and then we had pressure coming from the middle. This 100%. This play is both of your faults. Mostly Emmanuel. But JC, you might have been able to do something about it. And sorry, fellas, I'm really not trying to be mean here. I'm not trying to kick you while you're down. But let's get better. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna watch it from this angle twice in full speed. Just watch your position. If you need to slow it down on your phone, you know, drop it into 0.25 speed or whatever you got to do. But I'll just run it. It's exactly what I talked about, just a different angle. Emmanuel, I know how bad you want sacks, and I know how much you want this sack record. This could have been a sack. This was your sack to have. This was a play that was designed at you, and they said, we're not worried about that defensive end. So that's where I'm going to call it for the defensive end breakdown portion. Big takeaway for JC. JC, you have to improve your pad height. You're coming off the ball too high. You're making contact too high. You have to stop bull rushing. You're not big enough and you don't have enough power. You have to use your speed, which means you have to be clubbing and ripping to the outside and maintaining your containment. Emmanuel, very similar. You have to focus on your pad height. You have to be lower consistently. You have to stop going away from your club. Your club is very strong. And I pointed it out at least once, maybe 2 or 3 times during this film. When you clubbed, it was a very strong club. But you have to bring the other part of it. Club is half your move. It's club and rip, or club and swim. Hell, you can club and pull if you really want. I don't care if you want to start club and stiff arm, club and rush. But you have to have something to follow up your club. Your club is good. And you have to stop. You have to be more consistent with just your hand fighting in general. When you did club, it was great. But you never once ripped. And then you went away from the club entirely. Right, we talked about it before. I'm stopping this film at 3 minutes left in the second quarter because I don't think I'm going to get anything more productive out of this film. This game is just going to get worse as it goes on, right? We've had this conversation before. I know me and Emmanuel have, and I'm pretty sure me and JC have before, that a football game is an entire battle. It's a 4-quarter battle between you as the defensive end and the offensive tackle you're up against. There's plenty of time to do different things and set different things up, right? But at no point can you go away from setting things up, if that makes sense. Like, you can't get to a point in the game where you're just chest bumping. You always have to be working your club. And even Emmanuel, you came off with that one play. You even did a stem inside, which me and you have worked on plenty of times. And your stem froze the tackle, but you didn't follow it up with another move. You didn't follow it up by clubbing and ripping or clubbing and swimming. Have to be consistent. Have to be doing moves every single play. And you have to drive those younger kids that are behind you to get better. Because at play 40, I was questioning if you guys were too tired to be on the field. Overall, fellas, like Coach Clough said, man, this game's behind you. You watch the film, it's done. I'm sure you watched it independently on your own. And then you watched my notes on it. You watched what I had to say on it. Take those, put them in your pocket, apply them at practice throughout the next week. Go into Estrella and be better. Flat out be better. This was a very rusty game. And granted, it's 2020. Like, this game is allowed to be rusty. This year has been crazy. But this year is also your senior year. For both of you guys. And I know you guys have higher aspirations, whether it involves football or not. I know you guys have aspirations and the work ethic to want to be better at things. So, brush this game off and go into next week doing a move on every single play. I don't care if you're physically exhausted, like throwing up on the field exhausted, and your club is like a little girl club. I don't care. You still got to throw it. You still have to throw that club with every ounce of energy that you have. Fellas, next week can be a much better week. Can be a much better week for you guys. If you correct the little mistakes. This whole game was just mental mistakes. So, I will do another one of these next week. If you guys like it, man, shoot me a text. Let me know. Let me know if you want me to keep doing them. If you think I'm just too much of an a-hole, then tell me to stop. But, you know, it's on you guys. If you guys want me to keep breaking stuff down like this, then I will. If you don't, then I won't. So let me know. Hopefully it helps. I know when you guys watch film, it's probably a little bit tougher to break it down without the insight of someone who's actually coaching, which is something that we haven't done a lot of with you guys, I don't think, is actually have someone break down film with you. So hopefully this helps you guys. And in better games, I will gladly break down all 4 quarters. But this game wasn't one of those. So, hope you guys have a good night. Get some rest. Make sure you guys are icing any injuries. And make sure you guys are tackling practice head on. Being aggressive, go out there and be team leaders, be the leaders I know you guys can be. So we know the team's going through some stuff right now, but you guys step up and guide those younger kids. All right. Peace out, man. I'll see you guys later.